Hello boys and girls, it's me, King Jiffy Coates, one of your best friends on the internet, I guess, if you're really that socially inept where you need me to be your best friend. But today we're going to be talking about Xbox. Yes, one of the famed Microsoft console, the big bad mamma jamma who's out there competing with Nintendo and PlayStation. Now, I don't really have alliances to any of these three. I own all three. I own a PC. I like playing on all of them. Well, screw me, right? I don't have allegiances to these giant corporations. That's crazy. But I do want to kind of say some things about Xbox because they have been in a little bit of hot water lately because they keep canceling games. They had such an insane lineup for such a long time. It was absolute beauty. It was amazing. I was so excited for all these things coming from the box of the X. The green X out there was going to be putting things in my lap. Philly Spencer was going to be playing with my butthole, but instead they are canceling everything. Now it started with I think Perfect Dark, but then it led to Rare's new game, whatever that's called, like Gay Frolic in a Forest. That shit got canceled. Now Contraband is canceled, and it seems like any of these games that we've had in development for a long time in the background are just getting absolutely kibosh, brother. They're getting fucking shot in the asshole and sent up river. They have no love coming in their direction. And I thought I'd kind of take a look at a few of these. Now, the first one I wanted to talk about is, of course, the Perfect Dark situation. One of the first quadruple A games. I hated that. I went and what was it, Ubisoft? When Ubisoft decided to say that they were coming out with the quadruple A game, and we all saw how that worked out with, what was it called? Like Gay Pirates Go to Alaska? No, it was, Skull and Bones. I was pretty close. Anyways, they did Skull and Bones, and that game could have been made by three monkeys sitting behind computers in the middle of a fucking zoo. But it came out. It was garbage. Nobody cared. They moved on. I'm pretty sure that old revival of that like 360 game, Captain Blood, is more fun than the enjoyment you would get out of the Gay Pirates Go on a Frolic. Let's get into Perfect Dark, because Perfect Dark has been an absolute cluster nightmare since it began. Perfect Dark was supposed to be a reboot of the FPS series that came out way back in the day for the Nintendo 64, and it started development back in like 2019, brother, or maybe even before that. I know it was announced in like 2020, and then they showed some promising gameplay in 2024, but I guess in the background it wasn't in good shape. It was still fucking chugging along. I mean, how much money do you have to fleece out of Microsoft before they shut you down? I gotta be honest. I'm not saying that I'm happy that Perfect Dark's down, but I did get it. I don't know why they need to take every one of these games and say, okay, we're gonna add 80 studios to it, where they're going to remove the initiative because they're not doing anything anymore. We're going to hand it all over to Crystal Dynamics. They're going to do everything, and then we're just going to let them bleed as much money off of us as humanly possible, and then we're never going to release this fucking game. I'm kind of curious how bad of the situation was for Perfect Dark after that promising 2024 like showcase was, so that they had to pull the plug. Was that the only functioning bullshit in the game? Now, it could just be a case of yeah, no, we don't want to pay Crystal Dynamics anymore. We want to save some money, so we're cutting this developer down. We're cutting Crystal Dynamics down. But then again, you think about it, if it was really a case of money, they would probably want to recoup some of those losses. And if the game wasn't even like releasable in a certain state, like they released Redfall, brother. They released Redfall. So you think that they wouldn't release Perfect Dark if it had some bugs and shit? So that shit must have been an absolute dog shit like land. And another game that was Everwild, and again, this started in 2019, and then Blackbird, a sci-fi MMORPG from ZeniMax Studios, 2018. Then you got Contraband, was announced in 2021, probably started IDing and stuff in like the 2018-2019 part of the bullshit. And then the last one, the one that hurts me the most, was Romero Games' unnamed project. And it's like, you look at all of these that started around the same time, not the Romero one, but the other one starting around the exact same time, all bleeding the fuck out of Microsoft's money. And I think that you look at this, and if I were running the business, I'd have to say, if you don't have something that's shippable after 5 to 6, 8 fucking years, we're pulling the plug at this point. I'm sorry. It makes a little bit of sense. Now, does it suck that these people lost their jobs? Absolutely. This is atrocious, and fuck you, Microsoft, for not being able to manage your companies effectively. This is definitely a top-down problem, not the dudes at the fucking computer. I have to ask myself when I see shit like this, especially in the year that Microsoft's had, why the fuck do you have Phil Spencer still there, right? And it sucks because I don't think Phil Spencer's like the ultimate Satan cabal monster, but I do have to say, man, get your shit together, dude. Get the fucking dildo out of your ass and start going to these studios more and whipping them into fucking shape. Go talk to their managers, say, hey, if you don't have stuff hitting these check marks at these times, at these dates, you're going to get fucking fired. We will put somebody else in your position. Also, why don't you condense some of these studios? Why are you outsourcing? Why are you spending money on shit like Unreal Engine 4 when obviously id Tech looks fucking fantastic? This is something I saw when the new Halo is coming out, right? When the new Halo is going to be all in Unreal Engine 5. Why though? Like, why? Why don't you just take all of the people at the stupid little 343 or what is it called, Halo Studios now, combine them with id Software, have the id Software team teach them how to use id Tech 4 in a fucking like badass state, say we're using this engine, we own this engine, we don't have to pay to use this engine, put Halo in this engine. Wow, dude, so much money saved. But Microsoft doesn't know how to do that. You see, Microsoft runs their shit like the government. They figure if they just can keep throwing money at it, eventually it'll work until they run out of fucking money and they have to close shit down. Now, that's where I get into the thing where I say, yeah, I understand why they've shut this shit down, because of the fact that after you've bled so much money, there's really nothing else for you to do other than shut the shit down and try to fucking cut off the bleeding arm. But at the same time, you should have never gotten to this situation. You should have fucking had these bastard like higher ups at these other studios by the cojones, brother. You should have grabbed them by the cojones and said, I don't give a shit about how much time you think you need. Well, you've been like chilling around in your fucking nap pods and not making video games. Let's get some screws back on your balls. I want to see fucking numbers from you, man. What the fuck are you doing? This is absolutely asinine. Get to goddamn work. And then I feel like there's a lot of chaos going on with all these different companies in Microsoft because they're not putting the absolute fucking slap on their Johnsons that they need to be putting on there. I feel like when you look over at PlayStation, right, or Nintendo, their developers are told, okay, we got to release by this date. You better fucking be done. You better be done. We're gonna get this shit out there. And so they do it. If there's a minor delay needed, they do the minor delay. But when it comes to Xbox, they're like, okay, we're gonna delay it, we're gonna delay it, we're gonna delay it, we're gonna delay it. Oh, it's canceled. Because we, instead of just saying, hey guys, get to fucking work, get this job done. Your little division here is a zone of like orgies and chaos. Let's fix that. If you need to do some firing, rehiring, do that. Whatever you need to do to make sure your team is in the most ample state possible, let's get that going. Let's get that in the right direction. Otherwise, we're going to have to cut some shit here. But it doesn't seem like they're willing to do that. It seems like they're just like letting these guys have full creative control, which is cool to let them have full creative control, but at the same time they need to be hitting their benchmarks, they need to be hitting their deadlines, and it seems like they're just not even forcing hard deadlines and shit to the point that they let these bleed to the point that they have to cancel them, which is just such piss poor management. Such piss poor management. I feel like when it comes to Phil Spencer, I think he's like a nice enough guy, but I think that's the problem. They need a warlord in this bitch. They need somebody who's going to crack heads and tell these motherfuckers that they need to get their games done by a few days, by these benchmarks. I think they also need to stop focusing on trying to like overtake everything with the best graphics and the best everything. Bro, get a bunch of like minor studios to make a bunch of games for you, right? I would be out there looking at all these indie and AA developers and be like, ooh, I want them to make something specifically for me. I want them to keep the similar budget to what they made their last game for. Maybe give them a little extra money. Doesn't need to be a graphical showcase. It doesn't need to be anything like that. It just needs to be a good fucking game. And start focusing on making good games again, because honestly, I feel like I'm not in the minority here when I say nobody cares about graphics anymore. We've seen it. It's gotten as good as it's gonna get. We're spending way too much fucking money. All these games are unoptimized to shit. So why the hell are we still pumping so much money into graphics and stuff when we should be focusing on like bigger and brighter gameplay? You look at that game, I don't know, it's like Adventurer 33, or I can't remember. It's a game that like won Game of the Year or whatever. Everybody's talking about it. My friends fucking love it. I guess it took turn-based gaming, threw it on its ass, and then fucked the living shit out of it and said, yeah, dude, we can still make original turn-based games. Why aren't you getting studios like that who can make a game for under $20 million and say, hey, could you make a game like that for us? Oh, you look at your studios that you have, say, hey, can you make something that isn't like this graphical showcase, but is still fucking fun for X amount of money, and that's all the money you get. You're not getting any more. Here's your money. Get it to us when you're done. Like that seems better. Then they have to hit all their points, get all their shit done, keep pushing it out. Like that makes sense to me. But it seems like Microsoft just kind of does shit like, again, like the government, where they're like, we need a new gun. Here is a blank check for whatever the fuck you want. And then when they're done, they're like, we don't like it. Cut it. We're just not. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's dog shit. Moving on. I don't like that. I don't like it. I think it's piss poor management. It just seems like throwing money at a fucking dying car. You're looking at this car, it needs a new transmission, a new engine, and new brakes. Fucking burn the car down, take it to a dump, sell it for fucking scrap metal, and buy a new car at that point. It really doesn't make any sense to keep putting money into these broken things. But that's kind of my 2 cents on the whole Microsoft thing. I know I'm gonna have like a controversial take here, because I think that there's blame that goes from it goes down all the way to the like fucking shift managers, to the leaders of these little like ZeniMax Online Studios people, all the way to the very top. I think there's blame to be shared all around. I think a lot of people like to point at one person and blame it, when this is like a systemic issue inside of Microsoft that needs to be fixed. And the only way I think that's going to be fixed is a lot of hard cuts, a lot of and I'm talking hard cuts like they probably need to get somebody who is more financially responsible. I know people hate when I say shit like that, or anybody says shit like that. It's like, oh, they need somebody who is like a business mogul, not a video game guy, to be the leader of Microsoft. They really do. And they need somebody with a little bit of an understanding for video games, but a keen eye for production and business at the top of fucking Xbox. Then they need to have all these little studios fall in fucking line. These guys need to know that they are only here to facilitate the company they work for, which sucks. That's a terrible, like, I get that that's not a cohesive, fun workplace, but at the same time, this company's struggling. It's just obviously struggling, and they need to make some changes, and that's how you're gonna get some fucking changes done. But that's kind of my 2 cents. I hope you liked the video. If you hated it, whatever, I don't care, and I'll catch you on the next one.